Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome this evening's guest moderator, Kevin Polowy, and tonight's guests, Robert Ben Garant and Thomas Lennon.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming out.
Hi. First thing, let's get all the babies out of here. Or let's show them a trailer for a super weird film.
That you just saw. Tom, Ben, thank you guys so much for coming out.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, Tom, thank you for not wearing short shorts.
They're on underneath in case of an emergency. You'll be directed to the exits, and I will rip these off to the shorts underneath.
Are there any Reno 911 fans in the building tonight? The state. And now we have Hell Baby, which you just saw the trailer for. You guys, this is an exorcism film, like The Conjuring, breaking all sorts of records. I assume that this was based on a true story.
Parts of it definitely are based on a true story.
You did move into a house with a lamp that tried to kill you.
I moved into a spooky old house. I have a baby from hell. He tries to bite my face off on occasion. A lot of the eating in the film is very autobiographical. A lot of the nudity is fictional, which is a weird thing to describe. But the nudity in the film is for the most part fictional, even though it's fairly
gratuitous.
Gratuitous is the word I'm looking for. You know how sometimes you're like, hey, there can be nudity in a film if it's intrinsic to the story. That is not the case here.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Totally gratuitous.
A lot of things that happen in the film are gratuitous and gross.
Yes.
And gross-tuitous, which is a new word I just made up.
Yeah, you mentioned there is a lot of eating in this movie.
We
some orgasm.
We stop to eat and then talk about what we're eating a lot. For a movie where the devil is being incarnate on the planet, we slow down and talk about pizza salad several times. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really the climax. Not to spoil the movie, except almost every character dies.
It's true.
That's literally a spoiler alert. But
In what way? What do you mean?
Every character dies except for like 2 or 3, and everyone eats tons of food.
Yes.
Yeah, and then not really that much else happens. This is sort of our foray into like jazz. Yeah, you know, we've kind of gone off the rails with this one a little bit, I would say.
Tell us what inspired you guys to create Hell Baby.
We 2 years ago, we decided to take the energy and sort of production model behind Reno 911, which was doing stuff super, super cheap so that we're not really on anybody's radar and there aren't a lot of people in suits around the monitor giving us notes.
Yes.
And channel that energy into a movie, which I guess they call those indies, which we've never heard of before.
Yeah, we had never done... The less money you take from people, the less you have to hear them go blah, 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 blah.
Normally, before you get on set, you've had at least 200 meetings about every joke, about every
studio
line.
movies are 5, 6, 7, 8 years sometimes to get going.
This one we wrote. The budget was $1.9 million.
Yep.
Somebody just gave it to us.
Yep.
And then we did it.
Yeah.
It was really fun.
We spent some of that money on sandwiches that we eat on screen.
All the money goes onto sandwiches
Yeah.
on the screen.
We didn't spend any money on costumes because people are naked.
a lot.
But it was definitely a reaction to like years of writing very structured big studio movies, and just you know, in an effort to sort of stay sane in the studio system, to do something that's very, very not a movie that anybody would have approved at any level in the mainstream system, certainly.
Did you guys look at other horror spoofs that have been made over the years? A haunted house, scary movie, part 17, wherever they are with that franchise, and just say, we can do this better.
You know, I'm remiss to say I haven't seen too many of the spoofy. I'm not the biggest spoofy guy. I think the last spoof I liked was like Top Secret.
Spaceballs, maybe?
Yeah, Spaceballs and Top Secret. But this movie was not. The intention wasn't to make a spoof. The intention was to make a film sort of like The Orphanage, but just with a terribly miscast horror film.
What if you did The Exorcist with a bunch of goofballs instead of good actors?
Yeah.
And it really worked. We watch more this is safe to say, horror movies
Oh, yes.
probably than comedies.
Oh, without a
We're
doubt,
big
yeah.
horror nerds, and
Yeah.
it was neat to kind of use a horror movie as a jumping off point for a really stupid movie.
And also, it does give you a sort of shorthand, because literally the whole movie begins like they just walk up to the house and they're like, hey, this house is probably haunted. Yeah, let's go inside and see what happens. And then you get to skip ahead of like lots of track that you don't have to lay, because everybody's like, oh yeah, I kind of know what sort of is supposed to happen in this movie. Then we can take detours because it's sort of charted territory, which is nice.
So is the goal, or is there the temptation there to land, as many genuine scares as there are, like, land in those jokes?
I don't know if there's genuine scares. There's genuine startles
Yeah.
in it. Like we kind of
You'll be-
we've seen it with audiences, and we get them to jump a couple of times.
The
only-
tagline for the movie should be, you will be scared 1/4 to death. Hell, baby, you will be scared exactly 1/4 to death, but not half. It's certainly a funnier movie. I mean, if you look at the cast, it's got some super, super silly people in it, ourselves included. So, no, it's certainly not. The intention wasn't to make a spoof. It was just to make the intention was to make the kind of movie that we would get if we went home and were just getting something on iTunes for the evening.
Yes.
Yeah, with chuckles and boobs.
Well, you mentioned startles. Rob Corddry.
Chuckles, startles, boobs.
Rob Corddry gets startled so
Boom.
much in this movie.
he gets startled a lot.
He gets startled so many times that at one point he screams on camera, "I am so sick of being startled." Which is why we almost called the film
The
Startling.
startling, with writing it with drippy like
With
sinister
drippy blood.
letters, but it just confused people.
We also almost called the movie Hell Baby 2. Despite the fact that there was no predecessor.
A little nod to Leonard Part 6.
Yeah, just
And
then
if people were to ask us about it, we were going to say we made a Hell Baby one, but it was unreleasable.
it was so bad we couldn't put it out.
So we're just doing the sequel out there.
So we just skipped ahead to the sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we just made that decision. In fairness, we made that decision like we made a lot of decisions. In New Orleans, a lot of your decisions are fuzzy, just super fuzzy, because you're so unbelievably drunk.
or hungover.
Yeah.
It's true.
Or that very creative area, the twilight.
The
of being
twilight
drunk.
between hungover and drunk.
Yeah.
4 o'clock.
Yeah. But in fairness, that's how Streetcar Named Desire got written. And this garbage.
Yep.
Speaking of this garbage, let's roll another clip.
I cracked myself up with that. I forgot as we were listing titles, there was a period where it was also called The Spooky Old House On Down the Way. But that seems like a sort of ill-advised title. Not that the title we have is not ill-advised. It's also
It's still
egregiously
terrible,
stupid.
Yeah. That's Keegan-Michael Key, and he lives in the crawl space, apparently, of the house. Spoiler alert. And we wrote the whole movie just so that he could come in and do that, just so
Yeah.
he can kind of walk in and say long, weird, pointless, wonderful things.
Yeah, that really is the only point of the movie, is some of the things that he says. And then at one point, he introduces another spoiler alert. At the climax of the film, he introduces the main characters, one of whom is going to have the baby of the devil. He introduces them to the idea of pizza salad, where you order a pizza from Domino's and you mix it in a bowl with a salad also from Domino's.
I hope
So
that
that's,
becomes a thing.
spoiler alert, that is the climax of the film. I'm telling you right now, that's exactly what... shortly after that, people get their faces ripped off by a monster, but
The pizza
the really
salad's
exciting
really
part
the-
is
yeah.
the pizza salad.
Yeah, he's hilarious. A hilarious cast that was assembled here. You have Rob Corddry, Leslie Bibb, Keegan-Michael Key, Michael Ian Black, Paul Scheer, Rob Schubel. Was this the first time that I believe this is the first time you guys were able to assemble your own cast?
Well, the great thing about making a sort of an indie movie like this is, there's no... You don't have to run everything by a ton of people.
Yeah, there's no pressure to put, well, this kid's going to be a star, and this
Yeah.
guy's on the Disney Channel.
Oh
Get
my
him.
God, get somebody who's hip.
It's a super group of
Yeah.
like our favorite comedy people. Most of them have their own comedy shows.
That is a weird thing. It is sort of a super group because you've got Key and Peele represented, Human Giant,
Ricky
Children's
Lindholm,
Hospital.
whose show starts in HBO.
Garfunkel Notes is coming to HBO soon. So it's kind of like what was the Traveling Wilburys? Exactly. It's like the Traveling Wilburys without the guy from ELO.
Okay.
We couldn't get him. He was
Yeah.
the only one who
Jeff
passed.
Lynne just came to me, everybody. Jeff Lynne.
Yes. And it's Rob Hughes.
Is he here
I
by any
got
chance?
that
Jeff
name
Lynne?
wrong.
Electric Light Orchestra?
Passed away, I think.
Oh.
I imagine it was a nonstop laugh riot on set.
Well,
You will notice in the credits, I don't know
Yes.
how many movies give special thanks to a drink, but we thank the Rumhouse's painkillers
Yeah.
because we would have trays of them at the end of every day. And by the end of the shoot, they were delivering them in vats.
Yeah.
We had to take the shelves out of the fridge so it would fit our
because we
vat
got
of-
a emergency, like a FEMA
like
container.
a FEMA rum drink
Yeah.
container.
That sounds like a joke anecdote. It's 100% accurate. And it's reflected in the film, which is sometimes out of focus. I'm totally kidding. The movie's in very sharp focus.
I almost forgot the two most important actors in the film. These guys. Tell us who you play.
Thank you very much. I know that felt a little forced and awkward, but it means a lot. We play two priests from the Vatican who come into the movie to kind of swing a crucifix at the baby and try to the hell baby. I'll tell you right now, a hell baby, it's like that old Chekhov rule. Don't name a movie and then not introduce. A baby from hell does come out and eats our faces, and we try to swat at it. That's the sort of the
We're
biggest
very
thing we do.
inefficient exorcists. Yeah,
We
we're as
ha-
good at exorcists as we are cops in
Oh,
Reno,
exactly.
I would say.
Yeah, remember if you ever saw the Reno movie when we chased the chicken around and
It's
we
like
tried
that
to,
with the devil.
Yeah, it's literally exactly that. Yeah, but we play two priests. We have somewhat plausible accents, plausible enough for a movie like this.
Sure.
A
You know,
Spaniard and
I'm a
Italian.
Spaniard. I play a Spaniard, based vaguely on an accent I heard Antonio Banderas use in a Moldovar movie in the '90s that I didn't remember very well. And you
I
do
saw,
a kind of a...
I saw Down by Law with
Oh,
Roberto
that's what you're
Benigni
doing. Yeah, the kind of
in
Roberto
college.
Benigni guy. Yeah,
Nice. And you guys smoke
Yeah.
a lot of cigarettes.
yeah.
We chain smoke a lot.
I made myself a little queasy on this movie. Kids, don't. One, Michael Caine says don't smoke in movies ever, because it leads to a lot
Continuity.
of inconsistencies with continuity, which is true. It also, when you smoke as much, it'll just make you queasy. So much smoking and eating, you're gonna quease yourself out, especially if you're drinking painkillers all day.
You guys are seasoned screenwriters. You've written the Night at the Museum movies, The Pacifier, Reno 911, Miami, of course. This film marks your directorial debuts. What was that experience like? Was it hard doing it together? Did your relationship change? Did you guys fight at all?
You know, we met very close by at NYU in the fall of 1988, and we remember when this building was a post office. As a matter of fact, when there used to be something called mail, where
You had to go to a place.
you'd go to a place and then a human being, you'd open it up and be like, oh, look at this, there's an email on paper, and
We also, walking around New York, realize we've become the two old guys who point out, and that used to
They
be
used to
Nathan's
be.
Hot Dogs.
They used
And
to
this
be.
place had a Knish that were those guys now.
there was a chicken that would beat you at tic-tac-toe.
On Mulberry, right down. Oh, God, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. We become those guys.
We're those guys. We're gonna stop being. We're the Statler and Waldorf of our
own youth.
lives.
Oy,
Jeez.
oy. But
The point
we've
was-
worked
oh.
together for 25 years.
Yeah.
We basically direct Reno 911 the show together, and we would just flip
Pretty
a
much.
coin to see who gets credit for even or odd episodes that season. But we don't argue. We've been doing it.
If you're going to write or work with somebody else, one of the best things about going to NYU is, and when we started the state, is it's not what they teach you there, but it's the people. You'll meet people that are so supremely motivated. And like we fell in with a very, very motivated bunch of people.
Very driven and competitive.
I mean, the
who'd
state,
all-
we would do live shows all the time, whether, we never really asked for permission, I think was the important thing. And if you're in the arts and acting or writing or music or screenwriting or anything, don't wait around for somebody's permission, because it's not coming. No one's going to help you get your thing off the ground. Just do it.
create your own
So-
work.
So
We
that's
did
what-
shows in the park. We did shows in
Yeah.
Washington Square Park.
We did the Strawberry Festival. We would open up for the Toasters. We would do any show that anyone would ask us to do. We'd show up with a big box of
props, wacky wigs.
wacky props.
Yeah.
And there'd be like a cool ska band looking at us setting up our wacky props. And you'd
This
feel
is for our
lame,
sketch
but-
about saltine
yeah.
crackers.
Yeah. And you'd
And
have
then
to
Carrot Top came along and ruined it for
boom.
you guys.
Boom.
Exactly.
Yes. So there were no slap fights on set. That's
No,
kinda
you know what? I
disappointing.
mean, that we did write a book about screenwriting, and a lot of it deals with how to work as a partner, and it's all about just sort of maximizing the creative part and turning down the tedium and the fighting as much as possible. We literally never fight. Our creative process. Somebody did just steal something from the Apple Store.
Tom, this is true.
Does he do this a lot?
He was almost shot by the LAPD because someone really stole his bike. He took an air rifle that he keeps by his door, ran after the guy down the middle of the street, shooting at him with his air rifle, saying, "I'm going to kill you, I'm going to kill you." LAPD got some calls about that. The guy got away, so did the bike, and as he was walking back, he realized there was a helicopter over him. And he was surrounded by cops saying, "Line of fire, line of fire, line of fire." And lucky,
16 shotguns pointed at me.
he was recognized by the captain of the West Hollywood police force as Officer Dangle.
Yeah.
Or he would be in the news as a corpse.
Corpse news. The worst kind of news to be in. Well, we were telling a great story before the crime spree happened.
We were talking about writing.
About writing. Oh, yeah.
I think you were talking about focus.
I can't help it if I have fucking spidey sense. Pardon me. Another we talk about it in our books, but this is a good thing to talk about at the Apple Store. There's better, when we started out, the cheapest Apple computer you can buy has the software that is literally 10,000 times more sophisticated than what we started making films and editing on.
Or
it's
even at MTV. At MTV, you had
these-
two tape machines back and forth, and that's how you edited. And now your computers come with more than a studio
we
back
would
in the day.
cut things with like a razor blade, and then you tape it together. That's literally what we did
The
with
old
our stuff.
Steinbecks.
So,
Then we would walk across to the post office, and we would mail it up.
we'd mail off our films.
I think we're ready to open it up to the floor if you guys have some questions. By the way, you did mention the book that you guys released a couple years ago. It's called Writing Movies for Fun and Profit. Fun is crossed out. If you guys are interested in screenwriting, definitely check it out. It is a very, very entertaining and informative read.
It's very obnoxious. The cover is very obnoxious.
This is a good point to make.
But we give all the money to the USO, 100%. And it looks like a joke, but everything in it is true. It's not a book on how to write. It's a book on the business side. It's a book on, now that you have made yourself into a great screenwriter, what happens? What do I do? Which there weren't any real books about that written by people who'd done it.
It's just about surviving the system, which is fairly crazy. Yeah.
Great.
Hi, I have been a fan of both of you guys for since the show started. So thank you so much for all the laughs.
Elaborate on that, please.
Reno 911.
No, it's
when
okay.
the season 1 started, I was obsessed, and then I loved your Night at
So
the
you're
Museum.
a recreational drug user.
Yes.
They go together.
I'm also I'm a student at Tisch. I'm a dramatic writing student.
Go Violets,
Yes,
go Violets.
exactly.
Violets.
So I was wondering, a lot of my TV instructors emphasize partnerships and writing teams.
Yes.
Did you guys ever want to do solo endeavors before you started?
We
We both do,
yeah.
and we continue to. Sometimes I'll do just acting stuff. Ben has a straight up horror film coming out in January
Jezebel.
called Jezebel with Jason Blum.
The good thing, if you do it right, if you have a partner, I would say the most important thing about finding a partner is equally as important as taste and sensibility is work ethic.
100%.
You have to find somebody who works as hard as you or harder, or it's doomed from the start. You
Right.
both have to keep each other on your toes.
And just for fun, is the thing you do, is it writing?
Yes.
Because writing, unlike some other things, is basically a solitary endeavor. We go over it in the book a little bit, but the way to keep yourself sane, what we do is we do all the hard part. We'll go to a bar to do outlines, and we'll just talk out loud and
figure
start.
out what's the joke, what's
Exactly.
the big
What are we
concepts,
getting at,
what are the
and-
characters,
exactly.
just the big fun stuff. We try to make each other laugh and come up with a big idea.
And then one of us will
Separate.
go sort of do bullet points, send the bullet points to the other person, who will turn the bullet points into sentences, who will then trade it back, and then we turning things into paragraphs. And then we've got a 10-page outline, basically, that we're looking at. But the writing, never write with someone over your shoulder. You will end up wanting to kill them, and vice versa.
It's one person is typing and the other person is telling them what to type and how, and it's hell. It's the worst. But if you have a really good outline that you've gone back and forth, and don't do that in the same room either. Send it back and forth. And the good thing about that is our rule is you don't complain about something and say something's bad. Just write something better.
Just replace it with something better.
Replace it with something better.
And it takes all the arguing out of the process. You're not arguing hypothetically. You're doing it.
And then if you have a 10-page outline, divide it into pages. You do page 1, you do page 2, you do page 3, and send it back and forth so that every time, if you send me your part, I'll put them both together. I'll rewrite the whole thing, send it back. You put your part 3, rewrite the whole thing. So then by the time you're at the end of the movie, it's like a 20th draft. And you're almost
finessing the whole time.
But then you can do work twice as fast with a partner, and if you're in the same room, you'll do it twice as slow.
It just, I mean, and there are definitely other ways to do that.
Of course.
We have had 11 films made. So it's, and been basically together, and not killed each other since the 80s. So.
Great, thank you so much.
And we'd recommend it. And if you find somebody who you like and works as hard as you, it's actually really fun and productive.
I attended Emerson College, never got into media or entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in finance now, and now I've reconnected with many of my friends from Emerson College, and I'm now financing their projects. So I really appreciate it when someone in entertainment doesn't want my money. That's when I want to give it to them. And so could you tell me about what you sacrificed by making your project at 1.9 million?
Yes.
Because my concern is that when you make a budget that low, especially when it's guys like you, that you're making the investor pregnant. So, if the investor said to you, thanks for only asking 1.9 million, but if I gave you more, what would you add?
The biggest thing, first of all, never give somebody else money to make a movie.
And everybody get his card.
Get this guy's card.
Yeah, let's talk afterwards.
This guy seems amazing. Don't
screenplay.
ever put money into a movie. Literally, it's like a pipe dream. No.
Well, we've done it both ways, and like we're used to doing studio movies, and when you do studio movies, the more money they spend, the better it is, because the more likely they are to make the movie. But I mean, 1.9, we thought we could do it at 1.9. We didn't make unreasonable cuts. Like we knew
the hugest thing you sacrifice is time.
Yeah.
What you don't get is time, and somebody shut that baby up.
Yeah, for 1.9,
I'm kidding.
It was a 20-day shoot, and we have a decade of experience of specific low budget, and so we kind of know. For example, we cut out the transpo department. Like we didn't move. We did everything in one block, which saved 40% of the budget right there. Because moving, it's not just the trucks and the drivers; it's the time. You lose half a day.
You lose a ton of time. So if you're doing a movie where you don't have any time, what you need is something like this, where almost every single character in the film has had their own TV series that they created and produced. Because they all know, like, oh, we can't, we're not figuring this out.
Yeah.
We got to go,
And like the Blumhouse model, the Paranormal Activity and the Purge, like their secret is one location, and that's it. Like they do it, like the Purge is one
Don't move
house.
around.
Don't move. Like if you move, you're in trouble. And tell a story that doesn't rely on special effects and that doesn't have to be beautiful. Because setting up beauty takes time. Like it's just you can see we found a beautiful location, a great haunted house, but then it's shot like a sitcom. We didn't
pretty much
have time to set up shots for 3 hours because it's a comedy and who cares? Like the Jason Blum movies, Paranormal Activity, it's about a look that looks like a little tiny video monitor, and who cares? So you have to be smart, but cut your moves,
time
cut
and
your
places.
moves.
And casting. I mean, this was a nice movie because everyone basically did it for scale because they liked the script and wanted to be in it.
And if you don't have a cast or a director that has done something low budget, find a line producer who you trust.
Yeah.
Take him off a reality show. Take him off of something that knows how to shoot something for $200,000.
Right.
And if you've never done it before, don't hire that guy. Keep looking.
Yeah.
Find somebody who knows how to produce something
for
no
money.
money.
A real angry first assistant director who's like a chain smoker.
Yes.
Too.
Who
somebody
everybody
just
will-
walks around and is just like,
Our
Somebody like that just tends to keep
our
things
assistant
moving.
director has been doing it for so long
Yeah.
that he does this every time he talks because he's been talking into a walkie
You know those
for
those
20
walkies,
years.
he
And
can't
so
help but do
even
it.
if you're just sitting with him, he does this when he talks to
Yeah.
you.
It's pretty interesting. Time is the big thing. And
Time is-
preparation.
time is the
You won't have
killer.
any of those.
Hey guys, big fan. I love the book.
Hey, thank you.
Everything you've done, basally.
Hey.
There's some low points, but that's okay.
Well, you
Let's-
didn't
we'll
like
skip over
Taxi.
those.
Come on.
I've seen Taxi.
That's
Thank
not
you.
liking it.
Thank you for seeing it.
Supported Taxi.
Right.
Yeah. Did you guys like the process of this, like having to sell the movie and everything, or do you think you'd rather go back to the big studio movies?
You know, it's a very fun change of pace. I will say with indies come a lot of the same weird things that happen with the big studios, but you lose money on the movie.
Yeah.
So that's the fun part of it.
It's totally different. It's the same
Yeah.
kind of dog and pony show of getting somebody to give the money. It's the same, like everybody acts like Sundance is like this artsy fartsy thing, but it's the exact
Very-
same. People are
it's
wheeling and
very
dealing and
slick.
talking to Variety and getting their gift bags.
It's
Like it's the
slicker
same.
than you'd think.
It's
Yeah.
it's
You just don't have any money, but they also don't give you any notes.
yeah.
As you can tell if you watch this film, you're like, wow, no one gave them any notes on this film. This is the third time they eat sandwiches.
they're both great. If you get a job doing either,
Oh my God! you
never
guys.
leave.
If you guys
dig
can
your
get a
fingers
job-
in and never leave
If you
because
can
you're
get
the
a job
luckiest guy
writing
on earth.
one studio movie ever, hang on tight. It's hard to turn. I mean, it's very tricky, and especially to get hired again. But that's what the book is about, obviously,
Thanks.
which is available in the iTunes store.
How did you originally came with the idea of the Hell Baby of that particular character, and did you do any prior research in terms of would that be very popular among majority of the population?
Mm-hmm. Did we do any research into would this film be popular? Clearly not. If you've seen the film, we're not really catering to any. This is, but while that was a joke answer, it's also true. This is a
Yeah.
movie like our work on, I think, The State and some of our more abstract kind of Reno 911 stuff. It was a movie to crack us up.
Yeah.
It's
It
not-
was Tom's idea, and what Tom said to me was, "What if like Reno 911, but they were exorcists?" And
Yeah.
I said, "Yeah,
Oh,
great,
great.
yeah, perfect."
And then that's all we did. So we didn't really run it by anybody. We just like the genre. We love horror films. We love the idea of going to New Orleans with funny people. And for the most part, the movie was about Keegan playing that character of Fresnel. Is just something we wanted to do. It was as we watch the clip of him talking right now. I would watch a channel that's just Keegan Michael Key. Tells you crazy stories.
If you
That
haven't
would be,
seen his show, Key and Peele,
Oh my God,
it's
it's amazing.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's really funny.
So funny.
Hi, how are you guys?
Very good. Thank you.
I have written a couple of scripts,
Mhm.
comedy,
Great.
and how do you know it's funny?
This is, well, that's the interesting thing because the comedy is the only thing where you can get immediate feedback.
Yes.
You need to shoot some stuff, do a table read, put it up on its feet, have people read it. You'll know immediately.
Mhm.
My question is, how do people who do dramas know they're done?
How do you know you're done?
I don't know how.
Should the mom get cancer? Are they
Yeah.
crying enough?
Like, I don't know how dramatic people know they're done. Comedy is the easiest thing in the world to tell. Do it. Have people get together and read it.
And you can sit
Yeah.
around and talk about comedy theory till the end of the world, and it means nothing.
Nothing
Put
in the world.
something on its feet in front of people, and
Yeah.
if they laugh, it's funny,
Yeah,
and if they
it's
don't,
immediate
it's
feedback.
not. And it's really simple.
And
Like,
if you don't know, we recommend
Yeah.
if you're getting into screenwriting at all, take a class at the UCB, an improvisation class. Not even just for acting, but for pitching. You'll also meet a ton of actors who can read your stuff. It's just a great way to. It'll also make you write better dialogue, and it'll make you more comfortable pitching. Taking an improv class as a writer is one of the smartest things you could possibly do.
It helps
will
you.
help you in leaps
It helps
and
you
bounds.
think in character, and you can tell when you read a screenplay of someone who's never had their work produced or put on its feet.
Yeah.
It's really clear because
Yeah.
passages of dialogue are way too long, and
Usually.
description of action is way too long. Like, just even if it's not actors, just have some friends and buy them some wine and like listen to it, and you'll learn so much.
Almost all scripts are way too long anyway. For
Yeah.
the record, I don't know where the notion that a script should be 120 pages is. That's positively insane.
We do a lot of
Yeah.
rewrites, and so we get scripts every day, and 95 pages. Like they're light. Every page is expensive.
If you want someone to read your spec, keep it under 100.
Yeah.
If someone's making it and it's over about 105, they're going to start to get mad at you because it's so expensive.
And if
I
you,
mean, they can just look at it. Studio executives can feel the weight of your script and be like, well, this is expensive.
yeah, but put some stuff. If you're not sure, put it on its feet and listen to. Do you laugh? Do other people in the room laugh? Because that's comedy. If you don't laugh, it doesn't work.
It's pretty great immediate feedback.
Great. Last question.
All right.
Make it
Hi,
a
guys.
good one.
Hi.
First of all, thanks for being here with us today. It's super awesome for you to take the time. And also, I can vouch for that baby. I hung out with him. He's pretty chill.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
I
My
still want that
question,
baby out of here.
Get that baby.
as a semi-recent NYU grad from Tisch, go
Congratulations.
Violets. Yeah, thank you. My
Violets,
yes,
violets,
it's
violets.
awesome. As an actor, I've been having a lot of trouble figuring out how to like market myself and what my type is. Did you guys have to go through that? And what was your solution? Did you
yes.
just say throw it out the window, go for whatever?
You know, it's interesting. There's a whole class in Los Angeles that teaches you what your myth is. There's this whole theory that, like, if you know what you represent in stories, like I apparently am a creepy doctor.
You're not that creepy in Batman. You're just like a regular
I
doctor.
guess I'm a regular doctor. I'm a regular doctor or just creepy person. But you know, I mean, it does. There is a certain knack to figuring out what you represent in stories and honing that. The only thing I'll say about acting, as it relates to what we do, is the more you need it to happen and the more it has to work out for you, the less it will work out. The more you can relax and improvise and truly let people feel like they'd be lucky to have you, it tends to work out more. Like, as soon as I stopped caring about acting, I got super busy. So that's a terrible piece of advice to give, but it also happens to weirdly be true. But the other thing is, for us, even as actors, is the exact same thing, which is we never, ever waited for somebody's permission to do something.
Create your own work.
We never waited for somebody to say, we're going to take this idea of yours, we're going to make a big splashy musical out of it, because that's never coming.
Go
That's
find other people who are driven, UCB or wherever, and get a group together and just start trying
Make
to
your
do
own
stuff.
work.
Put it on the internet, put it up in bars, put it up in a little theater, like put your own money so that
Do
you're performing.
plays, do anything.
You learn exponentially more doing it and doing it with an audience and getting an audience reaction than you can like thinking about it. And another thing that I've learned watching my friends who are actors, like perseverance is 90% of it. Like the ones who are still
eventually-
around are all busy and
Eventually, you
working.
get to my age. Sometimes other people are just not available. You're like, hey, I hear you're the guy. You doing? Yeah, I'll be that guy. Sure.
And you can't
Hang
find out
around.
what you're good with until you've done it a while.
No.
You can't find out what's your myth until you've done things that are right for you and things that are
But
wrong for you.
don't wait for somebody to say, I approve of you. Now come into my city of candy. That's not happening.
All right.
And if it does, call the police.
If it does, call the police. Because, yeah.
Thomas, Ben, thank you guys so much for being
Thank you
here.
for having
Pleasure,
us.
guys.
Thank you guys for coming out. Hell Baby is on demand now in theaters September 6th. Check it out. You will laugh your ass off and be scared 25% to death.